All right, let's talk about something we've all felt. Have you ever noticed the trouble? It just seems to have the worst possible timing. I mean, things are going great, you've finally found something you can't bear to lose, and then bam! It feels like the universe just sends you an invoice out of nowhere. Well, today we're going to unpack exactly why that happens.
You know the feeling, right? That sense that bad luck isn't just random, but, I don't know, cruelly and perfectly timed. It's almost like it waits for you to let your guard down. So what is really going on here? Are we just making up patterns that aren't actually there? Or could there be a deeper system at play?
Okay, so a huge part of the confusion, really, just comes down to our expectations. We are totally wired for an instant response world. We think if somebody does something bad, boom, lightning should strike immediately. And if you do something good, a reward should show up on your doorstep the next morning. We're looking for this simple, clean cause and effect system.
But what if that's not how it works? Not at all. What if the universe's whole accounting system runs on a much, much longer timeline? It's not operating on our schedule, it's operating on its own.
And that brings us to our first big idea here, this concept of a time lag. See, consequences, the good ones and the bad ones, they almost never arrive instantly. There's this built-in delay. And understanding that delay, well, it changes everything.
So let's use a metaphor here. I want you to think of a cosmic boomerang. Imagine every action, every single choice, heck, even every powerful thought. It's like a boomerang you're throwing out into the universe. And it travels for a bit, sometimes for a long while, but eventually it's going to circle all the way back and return right to you.
And you know, this is not some new age idea. This is ancient wisdom. This quote from the Buddha just illustrates the principle perfectly. Our reality, right now, is basically the harvest of seeds we planted in the past. Could have been yesterday, could have been 10 years ago. And the thoughts and actions we're choosing right now, yep, those are the very seeds for the life we are going to be living in the future.
This time lag, this delay, it's exactly why we have such a hard time connecting the dots. I mean, think about it like this. If a kid touched a hot stove but didn't get burned until 10 years later, they'd never learn that stoves are hot, right? The lesson is completely lost because the consequence isn't immediate. We just don't see the link between what we do and what we get. So we keep making the same mistakes over and over, all while wondering why we're so unlucky.
Okay, so it's not just that the consequences are delayed. There's another layer of complexity here, and this one's a biggie. They often come back in disguise, and that makes them almost impossible to recognize.
So the energy of an action, it always comes back, but its form can be completely transformed. That sharp, unkind word you spoke years ago, it might not come back as someone insulting you. No, its energy could manifest as, say, an unexpected financial problem. And on the flip side, that quiet, anonymous act of kindness you did, that could return years later as some kind of lucky, miraculous encounter, right when you need it the most.
Here's a great way to think about it. Step 1, you plant an apple seed. That's a choice you made in the past. Step 2, time passes, life happens, you totally forget you even planted it. Then, step 3, one day, out of the blue, you either get handed a delicious apple pie, a fantastic outcome, or you slip on a rotten apple peel and take a nasty fall. The outcome looks nothing like the original little seed, but that is exactly where it came from.
Now, this understanding, it invites a really powerful shift in perspective. When something unexpected happens, instead of immediately feeling like a victim of some random attack, we can actually see it for what it is. It's just the past settling its accounts in the present. And looking at it that way allows us to accept what's happening way more calmly and, search for the real lesson inside of it. Okay, I know this all might sound a little abstract, right? A cosmic boomerang? So let's bring this down to earth. Let's ground these ideas in two really powerful real-life case studies that show the universe's ledger in action, playing out over decades. All right, first up, case file number 1. We're talking about J. Bruce Ismay. He was the chairman of the company that built the Titanic, and he made a series of choices during the ship's construction that would, well, echo for the rest of his entire life.
See, Ismay's primary focus was profit and appearance. It wasn't safety. He famously argued to reduce the number of lifeboats because, get this, they cluttered up the pristine decks and ruined the view for first-class passengers. That was the seed he planted. Now, during the disaster, he managed to find a spot on a lifeboat and he survived. But the harvest he reaped? It was brutal. He lost the one thing he valued most, his reputation. He was branded a coward, publicly shamed, and he lived out his days in a lonely, forced retirement.
The very lifeboats he called unnecessary came back to him as a life of quiet desperation. Okay, now for a completely different story, a story of transformation. We're talking about the legendary boxer George Foreman. And his story is incredible because it shows that you can change the seeds you're planting at any point in your life.
So early in his career, Foreman was known for his arrogance, for a really violent ego, and he reaped the harvest of that energy. He lost his title, and then, in 1977, he had this terrifying near-death experience that forced him to confront everything he was. That was his turning point. He quit boxing and became a pastor, dedicating his life to his community. He started planting completely new seeds, seeds of kindness and service. And the harvest from those seeds? Well, over a decade later, at age 45, he made a miraculous comeback to become the heavyweight champion of the world again. But this time, he was a beloved public figure.
So, what's the big takeaway here? The crucial point isn't about being haunted by your past. The stories of Ismay and Foreman show us that the real power is always in the present moment. It's all about what you choose to do now.
Let's boil it all down to this one simple idea. Your present reality, what you're experiencing today, is the harvest of your past seeds. But your present thoughts and actions, those are the seeds of your future harvest. What you choose, think, and do right this second is what will create the reality you experience tomorrow, next year, and yet even 10 years from now.
And let's be super clear about this. This is not about being afraid or walking around full of regret. You can't change the boomerangs you've already thrown out there. This is about empowerment. It's about realizing that with every single choice you make today, you are actively planting the garden that your future self is going to live in one day.
So all of this leaves us with one final, and I think essential question. Knowing the universe is always listening, always keeping accounts, and that it will always deliver the harvest. What kind of seeds are you planting today? What gift are you going to send your future self?